Now all you people, I want you to set those headphones down. Get up. I said get up off your chairs and sing it with me one time. One time. It don't cost nothing, but you feel real good. But here we go. It's the Humpday happy hour hangout. Yes, it's the Humpday happy hour hangout. Oh yes, let's all get used up at the director's garage. It's a Humpday happy hour hangout. I said it's a Humpday happy hour.
I gotta love that. I just love these songs, man. I just love them. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live Humpday Happy Hour Hangout here from the home office. Atrium, open back. God, I love this. God, I love this headphone. So good. So good. What can I tell you about today? Well, I was off shooting on the set of NCIS. You guys remember a TV show called NCIS? That's where I was all day. That's way up in Valencia. It's about 30 miles from here. Which going against the traffic or going with the traffic or whatever it is, the good one, it's only about 30 minutes or so. So it's not too bad of a drive. It's not like crazy nuts. And but I was up there all day, and then I had to come back and deal with some stuff for work, and I was actually doing other things, writing a letter to somebody from CBS on my own behalf. Looking for work, fellas. We're still looking for work. But it looking good. Everything's looking good. We're on track here for something. Dropped the Mass Kobo unboxing last Thursday. So y'all got a chance to see that. That did real well. Y'all like those expensive ones. So do I. It's fun to do. Fun to do when you get some stuff of that high quality. I've written the review for that amp and shot all the B-roll, but I haven't shot the episode yet. So that's going to shoot after this next episode comes out. The next episode will be coming out probably next week. I don't see anything happening this week on that. I just am not far enough on it. I've shot it. I didn't even start laying it out yet. So the next episode is going to be an Audio 46 mystery box from Audio 46, and it's going to be a spicier one. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy that, because I was like, really? so that's going to be a more fun episode. It's less serious. It's less dangerous. But it was all the same. I got to say, it was something. I was like, whoa, really? Kind of a reaction. So it's fun. I don't always get, I've been on such a roll of like great product after great product, and like I wind up sitting there nitpicking these things, and just to keep it entertaining, you gotta find some things to nitpick about. But I'm like, these are all really, really good things, fellas. These are all really good products. And I finally got one that I was like, okay, this one's got some room for interpretation. It's not all the things you would want. But that's okay. They can't all be winners, That'll be the next episode coming out next week. I think I'm probably going to try and keep it as short as possible to keep the pain down a bit. But cheers, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. I hope you all are having a great week and you're getting some good listening in. I have had zero time to listen to anything. The Mass Kobo is gone. Like, it's gone. I had to ship it out. Poor guys, you know, I get it in for review and they're like, you know, we really need you to move that along as soon as you can. So that's why I wrote the review, shot all the B-roll. I just have to shoot the episode and assemble it. But it's structurally done. I've reviewed the unit, did a bunch of comparisons, some stuff that you guys were asking me to do. I tried to squeeze into this one, but I haven't even shot it yet. It's just I know that I'm good. I've got all the footage I need. I just need to shoot the episode and drop it in and build the thing. And that'll be out like in probably 2 weeks-ish. Who knows? But it's not going to be, it won't be that bad. It won't be that long. And then I've got some other things coming that I think are kind of cool, and I'm like, I know there's stuff in the works, but I don't know what's happening beyond the review of the Mass Kobo. We're kind of in a gray area because I certainly haven't been buying new stuff. Maybe we'll get creative. We'll do a music episode or something. I got to do something to fill some time when I don't have a new product in house. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm having a good time with it, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the reveal of the Mass Kobo last week, because that must have. I hope that took some of you by surprise at least. Because it was so out of left field. And again, it's thanks to Ryan Dietz and viewer Samir that I was able to get that. Ryan, just as I said in the episode, just kind of sent me a note saying, hey, you interested in something like this? I'm like, Ryan, do you know me? Have you watched this show? All the things I'm into we tend to dive into the deep end of the pool around here with reel-to-reels and $12,000 amps and $15,000 amps and just having a good time with it. But there are some spicy elements to that review too that are coming up. There's some spicy takes in there. I think you'll have a good time with it. I some of it will be a little enhanced for the sake of television, for the sake of YouTube and making it fun. But I've got a few spicy takes in there, and then I talk about what I really do appreciate and where I think it's not quite, for me in some ways. So, but it's still an amazing, what an amazing product though. And to have that on the heels of the B-21 Raider, I'm like, who gets that lucky? Who gets that lucky, man? That was awesome. We'll get to some chat. We'll do a little bit. I don't know how long we're going to go today. I don't have much else to say. I'll answer what I can tell you about the Mass Kobo without giving away the whole episode. But if you have anything you were curious about or whatever, just drop it in the chat, and I'll try and give you some answers. I'm just not going to give you my whole review here, because then why do the review episode, right? But it's still one impressive unit. It doesn't sound cheap. You know what I mean? So good. Neil Snyder's in the house. That's awesome. Cheers, Neil. Welcome. Ace of Spades, howdy. Gary K. Valencia, home of shit audio until they move. Oh, I didn't know they were up there. I've never been to the home of shit. I never went to the set of Schitt's Creek either. If I had Schitt's Creek and shit audio, that'd be some good shit. Hipster Cow, sorry, bad dad joke. Howdy, gents, says Hipster Cow. Howdy. Ken Workshop, afternoon. Yes, Kobo, very interesting. Yeah, right. And I did some, Ken is is our, if you guys don't know, Ken is our resident electronics guru. Ken knows more about circuits than any of us could hope to forget. It's like, we don't know. He really is that expert. And he gives me things to think about and look for when I can like spy through grills and stuff. I wasn't about to take that apart, but I did get some exploded views of that Mass Kobo, and I'm like, it raised some interesting theories that I'll put out in the big review. But yeah, it's an interesting product for sure, with quirky ergos. Okay, Spade says he saw a new review of the Violectric V281 limited edition. Now, that is a product that's been around for a minute, Ace of Spades. That thing has been around for a minute. That's got to be like an 8 to 10 year old product now. I've been seeing people with those for as long as I've been in Head-Fi as a hobby. It's one of those that pops up, and it's iconic. You know what I mean? It's one of those iconic solid state amps. Very good. It's supposed to be a Mass Kobo light amp for 2.6K. I couldn't comment. I haven't heard it myself. Powerful enough to drive the tungsten on high gain. Yeah, the thing about, as I talk about with gain, is, how noisy does the amp get when you start increasing sensitivity on the amp. It's a really hard thing to keep control of. That's why the higher power stuff is so attractive, because you can drive the tungsten in a medium to low gain setting, which means you're not amping up, you're not making the circuit so sensitive to that noise that's down at the bottom either. But some products pull it off and some don't, and I'll have something to say about the gain situation in the big review as well. Ken says relatively low power, surprising about the noise though. Wonder if it can't handle 6 volts, technically above spec for XLR, but not by much. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a theory, and when I dropped it down, it did get quieter. It was the combination of 6 volts with high gain that gave me some low-end noise in the circuit. And it wasn't like I was bringing the pot like wide open. It was like, good like 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I could hear self noise, with nothing playing. The amp was just generating its own noise. So it's something to consider. So it may be a, and to be fair, I mean, I've thrown that 6 volts into a lot of other amps, and it doesn't make any noise. The Enlium was a noisy amp though, under high gain, but it's also one of these kind of bananas gain circuits too, I think. I haven't looked that up recently, or at least I don't recall if I looked it up. Maybe I did. Forgot. It happens. But yeah, I mean, gain is important. Gain staging is so critical when you get, especially on that level, when you're getting into these super high quality amps. Some of them are going to be fussy. The Ray Samuels was not fussy at all. It's like, throw whatever you want at me, I'm going to be fine. But it's also dealing with a lot more current. There's a lot more going on there. Nephilim says, good evening, Michael. You shocked me with getting that Mass Kobo amp in. Again, that was Ryan Dietz and viewer Samir, and I can't thank them enough. It was massive, but I know you've got another awesome amp coming your way, but I'm not going to spill the beans on that. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what shows up. I have stuff I'm hoping on, and I've got stuff that I'm planning on. Because I think I've got enough money set aside to kind of get something, and I have my eye on something. It's just not available at this time. But yes, it will be used. I'm not buying anything new, certainly not with this budget. And I hope in the meantime I land some work and things start sorting itself out there, because that's going to be critical in the coming weeks. But yeah, the Mass Kobo, again, it was Ryan who's, tip of the hat cap to Ryan at Mod House. He's just, you know, I don't know, you know, how many of you guys have had a chance to like interact with Ryan or talk to him. He's just one of the nicest guys. You know what I mean? Like one of those guys you just want as a friend, like just to pal around with or shoot the shit with or whatever. And then on top of that, he's manufacturing this amazing headphone that costs a fraction of what other headphones that sound similar to it sound. So you get, you know, he's putting this incredible value into the market. The only downside is that you need a significant amp to push it and make it sound good. But, you know, but it scales, you know, it's just, it's phenomenal what he's doing for this hobby. So I have a huge amount of respect for Ryan. And beyond that, like I said, he's just a nice guy. Just a great guy to know. You know what I mean? All right, Nephilim says, oh, we did that. Hey, Michael, move your marker. Shout out to Ryan for being able to secure that Mass Kobo. Yeah, absolutely wild pull. And yeah, and I, you know, and you never know when somebody comes to you and they say, hey, would you like this? It's like, well, you don't, you know, and it's not just on Ryan to make it happen. It's like, you know, the other guy's got to be like, well, you know, it's been on a tour and I kind of want it to get home. So, you know, I don't really want to add somebody else. You know, there's all sorts of things that can come up that would disrupt that plan. So I didn't want to put all the weight on him. Not that there was ever any pressure ever in the world, Ryan. Get it to me. But you know, you can't count that he's going to follow through, and you can't blame him if it doesn't, because it was just a nice thing he was trying to do. So really appreciate that. You know, appreciate his effort. Cheers, everybody. Ace says, yes, Mass Kobo was quite the surprise. Fun to see the first take. Yeah. And I like doing that with with any product I get in new. I do roll that live. I do pull-ups because I wind up listening to like an hour of music, and I have lights failing all over the place usually. It's really something by the end of it because I've been listening to music for so long. And then I just pull like 3 or 4 good representative songs out of everything I listen to, so that you have a good feeling for what my reactions overall. But usually the first cut almost always stays, because that's my very first reaction to the amp and like what I think of it. But you know, past the first song, it's like I'll mix and match there. And I listen to a lot of different stuff, and I just piece it all together, you know, using the stuff where I'm like, oh, well, this makes a point about the bass. This one makes a point about the speed of the amp, how fast it is, the detail. This song is a good representation of, you know, I had some interesting things to say there. And then a lot of the other stuff, it's like, Michael, you were being repetitive. You said it sounds really detailed for like the 90th time. We can cut this whole section out, you know, and I try not to bore you with that. Inside baseball of how the director's garage gets cut. So good. All right, so let's see where we're at. Where were I be? Yeah, I was up here. Sudasan. Neil says, just got a new Blue Jeans power cord for the B21. Gorgeous, beautifully built, 48 monthly payments of $200. Oh my God. I know that was so expensive when we looked at that. And Ray says, you know, Ray advises not to change any of the cords on this thing. He says the cords are part of the tuning, and you know, don't go changing the umbilical, don't go changing the power cord. So I adhered to that when I was doing my review of that amazing B21 Rada amp. So good. Ray sending him an Intruder portable amp, 36 volts out. I know, I have that here. It was right in front of me, but I may have moved it because I was trying to clean my desk off a little bit in advance of the live stream today. What did I do with it? It's over here. Oh, here it is. Right here. This guy. This teeny little thing, 36 volts. You know, this isn't going to, look at that. Isn't that cool? I mean, just that is cool. And it's got, it reminds me of the Pico Slim from Headamp, which is a really nice little amp. But man, you got some selections on this. There's a DAC in here too. I mean, this is real, and it's battery. they're battery powered. You could take your Sesfara on the road if you wanted to. Take your Sesfara unveiled on the road with no grills on them and see how long they last. Torture test them. Let's see how long on a plane until the child in the seat next to you reaches up and goes, "What's that?" and puts a finger through the diaphragm. That's a really cool headphone, man. 4-year-old kid. Smack. Too funny. Neil is jealous. He may potentially have an iFi Diablo on the way, first edition, but I think Ray would beat it. Here's the thing about, and I haven't spent enough time with this. I haven't had a lot of time to listen to this. I almost pulled it out for this week's the unboxing I did this week, but then I didn't have a need for it. It'll make sense later. But that was the plan, was that I was going to try and do something with this. I don't know how quiet this thing is. I haven't really spent enough time with it to like really get in there and check out if it's a noisy circuit or a quiet circuit. But, you know, knowing Ray, it's not going to be bad. Ray doesn't put out, you know, there are brands that it's like, the quality has been so consistent, you generally just don't question stuff. Noble comes to mind, you know, and the Apollo, by the way, went on sale, I think it was this week, or maybe it was last week. The Apollo, you can now pre-order the Noble Audio Apollo on Audio 46, should you want to, and use the coupon code directorsgarage, all one word. If you do, you get up to 5% off on most of the gear they carry. It's like I remembered that shit. And if you want to get your viewer system, I have no viewer systems this week, fellas. Y'all let me down. JTB, where are you at, man? You've been promising me photos for a month. Send them to directorsgarage@gmail.com, fellas. Or just write and tell me I suck. All good. Wouldn't be the first one. What do I got? Yeah, the Diablo to me was a noisy amp. That was not the quietest amp I've heard. I wasn't that impressed with it. I don't know about the Diablo 2, where that falls. I know there's some controversy because it apparently isn't doing all of the power that they claim. They're now able to measure it to the same power output that they're claiming on that. But, you know, I don't know. I know Neil has one. Neil, we saw his photos. He's got one. So maybe Neil can comment about how that Diablo holds up. I mean, it's nice, though. I mean, it's got a lot of power. It'll push a Sesfara. It's just the only question is on the Diablo is how noisy is it? How much noise are you pushing? Because I've had problems with noise on that thing. I didn't think it was the quietest thing I've ever heard. The Diablo 1 I'm talking about. I much preferred the iFi IDSD signature. God, they got to work on their names. Diablo is a step in the right direction, but they still have the word salad stuff below it. But the IDSD signature, that small little blue one that's kind of shaped similar, and it's around the same size as the Diablo. It's got a different form factor, but it's got all that sensitivity settings that makes it really great for IEMs. Fantastic product. That's a solid recommendation, because it is a Ginsu knife that does all kinds of stuff. Whereas the Diablo, it's like they actually removed some features. Yeah, they gave it more power, but they removed some features, which is kind of disappointing. Last round says he's getting the feeling that while you like some aspects of the Mass Kobo, you were not impressed with it. No, I would change that. It's an impressive product because it delivers close to an electrostatic-like experience. It's like the closest thing to an electrostatic in a planar that I've ever heard. It is supremely detailed. The detail on that thing is amazing. The image on that amp is, I mean, you'll have two voices, and I mean, no other amp has been able to do this. I was trying to think of who was it I was listening to where they had two voices. It was a Fleetwood Mac track, I'm not sure. But they had two voices coming from around 10 o'clock, and I swear I could hear distinct locations, and I've never heard that before. They've always sounded like they were kind of blended on the same mic coming from the same point. And the time through with the Mass Kobo, I swear to God, I could hear slight distinctions between where they were at in the image. I'm like, that was impressive. Like I can, when you're hearing specific things and you could point to them and go, I've never heard that before. There's phenomenal things happening with that. So it is very impressive. The larger question is, does it make sense for me? And where does it fall in relation to some other options out there? And does it, you know, when you're talking about that price, you know, here's and this is where some bias comes in, fellas. Here's where some bias comes in. When you're talking about something over 10 grand, you better be at the top of every single category. And if not at the top, you better be near the top. Like going, well, I like this one more. I'll take an example, the Meze Elite, right? $4,000 headphone. Now, it's not at the top sonically. It's not near the top sonically, but it's got world-class comfort. It's in the vicinity of the, you know, it's an upper tier headphone for sure as far as sonics, but it's got good speed. It's got a lot of things. It puts together enough of the right package to sort of justify its price. And in some cases, when you consider some other things that are out there, you could even maybe say it's a bargain if you can find a deal on one. But when you get to an $8,000 product like the Sapphire Unveiled, for instance, that headphone had better be the fastest, deepest bass, most sub, immersive, detailed, dynamic, punchy headphone on the planet. Because if it's not, you've taken away all the safety of not having a grill on the side, and you're charging me way more than any other headphone. You had better, and I don't know the answer to this, and I'm not saying this to be mean to HiFiman or anything, and I respect HiFiman. I think they do good stuff. But that headphone, if I ever get a chance to review that, it had better be the best of the best at $8 grand. If you're going to pull a premium price like that, and you're going to sock us for that kind of money, and you're giving us plastic covers for the side, and the thing can get punctured, that thing ought to, I used the term the other day, fart unicorns. That thing ought to be like, it better be like a god tier headphone at that price. It better be. And equating that back to the Mass Kobo, that I need similar experiences across the board. I'm not saying it has to be the very best at every single category, but it better be at or near the top and punching tickets all the way down the line. Like, if it's not the you know, if it doesn't throw the Sapphire, the OG Sapphire into slam, it better be delivering solid, unbelievably great bass and amazing sub. Not, you know, it's skipping on the, okay, I'll forgive that it doesn't push the Sapphire in the slam. It doesn't have enough power to do that, really. But it better be giving me sonics that are out of this world. Like, it should be making me turn my head and go, holy crap, how can this be? You know, how is it getting this out of this headphone? You know what I mean? So that's sort of my approach to it. And I think you'll see that there are some things in the review that left me a little questioning. You know, I was a little short for me. Now, does that make it a bad product? No, not at all. It's a phenomenal product, because the areas that it excels at are brilliant. I mean, brilliant, like world class. Like I've never heard this in another amp before. But it also fell short in some areas too, which I didn't expect. I expected more and I didn't get it. So, you know, it's tough. I want, you know, when you talk about value, you know, well, to me, you can get, your value proposition in an amplifier should be from $2,000 to $5,000. And I think I've made no bones about it. I think from what I've heard, and I haven't even spent that much time with it, the Mass Kobo and the Burson stuff and the particularly the Ferrum stuff, that's the sweet spot for performance for value in my head. That's where, you know, you're going to get the most bang for your buck down there, I think, in my opinion. You know, everybody has their own, you know, what they're willing to spend. But that's my opinion is like, you know, that Ferrum stack is so good. It's so good. And now they've got the Wanlo with it that shoves 9 volts. With 9 volts going into that amp, if you cranked up the voltage on the DAC, you're going to push anything with that. And you don't need to put the amp in high gain, you know, it's amazing. Anyway, damn, he would have sold me my almost new Diablo 2. Neil, is it, how do you rank that Diablo 2? Do you think is it worth the money? You know, it's about what, $1,100, I think. Is it worth the money? Where does it fall? And I'm really curious about what it sounds versus this thing, because this impressed me. I haven't spent a lot of time with it because I don't have time, but I want to spend more time with it. Ken, drive north and spend the day listening to B21. You're always welcome. Ken made it to the director's garage. Ken and I spent a day here with it. And he got to roll through it and roll through a couple of different things. We did some electrostatic listening, and that was before I got the new power supply from Ray. For the B21, the retuned one, which got it a lot closer, and even closer still once I started playing with voltages. But we were listening to the KGS, and he's like, "This is a pretty impressive thing. Pretty impressive thing, man." I mean, it's all good. I mean, all this stuff is like, it's such. We're in such a good space right now. For our products, that for what's available out there, you know, when I can find some flaws with a $15,000 amazing amp, some things that I you know, like, guys, I gotta be nitpicking to some degree. I mean, I feel a little guilty about it. It's gotta be nitpicking on some level, you know, because, you know, and everybody who hears that thing just thinks it's a dream. So, but I'm going to have something spicy next week anyway. That'll be fun. Last Rhino says, if Ryan is such a nice guy, why is he not updating people who paid for his headphone? Many people complained of no updates in 4 months. It takes time, sure, but why the silence? Yeah, I mean, here's what I would say about that. And I'm just going to base this off of like trying to run this show. We're all so busy. Like, I feel bad because I can't always give my Patreons the updates that they should be getting. I feel like I owe the Patreon community even more than I'm able to deliver at this time. With my job situation, and I'm still working full time while I'm trying to find other work and get shows out and review these things and give you a good review or a good honest opinion anyway of what I'm feeling, and hopefully I'm not letting my mood of the day, because, you know, moods tend to swing when you go into stressful situations, fellas. I'm hoping I'm being true to the products and not letting my, you know, whatever the mood of the day is sort of get the better of my intentions when I'm writing a review. There's a lot of stuff happening right now, and I'm like, I don't know that I'm doing the best shows I can do at the moment. I'm doing the best I've got. I watch these shows over and over before I let them out, and I'm always looking for places I could improve or things I should maybe pull out, because I'm like, well, that didn't work, or that was, you know, that's kind of I'm kind of crossing my point here, and you know, that I try to be specific in the reviews, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and sometimes it's just hard to keep that flow of information going where you want to. And I'm not defending it. It's up to Ryan to tell you about it, but you know, dude's buried and just trying to get orders out, and every minute he's taking time to do something is probably a minute away from putting together the next headphone to get out so he can get to the next one, you know. But you know, email him. He's a good guy. He's not somebody who's trying to duck anything. He wants. I don't think there's anybody on the planet who doesn't want to get his headphones out more than Ryan. He's trying to get them out as fast as he can because it's good for him. It's good for his business. It's good for everybody. And he likes sharing. I've never seen somebody enjoy sharing, maybe Zach from ZMF, who enjoys sharing something he's built as much as Ryan. Like, he really does want to hear what people think of what he's done. It's very cool in that regard. I respect the heck out of Ryan. So, you know, I do apologize. You know, I'm kind of sorry that you're not getting the update you want. But I also, you know, dude's buried with work, so it's hard, and, you know. But a kind reminder or a kind ask would probably go a long way, I would think. He's not like somebody who's unapproachable by any means, at least to me. He's never been unapproachable to me, so I enjoy Ryan a great deal. But at the same time, I'm sorry you're not getting the response you want. That's kind of. You know, I'm sorry for you guys too. Netflix says, Michael, with the Mass Cobo, I think 4 volts out of the DCS DAC Mass Cobo. I can't set to 4 volts. I can go 0.2, 2, or 6. I think those are my 3 options on the DAC. I can't go 4. They don't have a 4 setting on the DCS DAC. It goes from 2 to 6. That's the max voltage out. But it would be great if I could do it. I can't. But the 6 is working great under medium gain. Or the 6 volt out at, or the 2 volt out at high gain. That works. When you're not shoving as much voltage into it, it tends not to be as noisy. So that works too. It's the high and the high that just, like, it doesn't work as well. At least with the DCS, and maybe there's other DACs that would perform better with it. I don't know. I don't have a lot of other DACs around here at the moment either. I'm sort of sold out. Closing shop, boys. Oh, sorry, we're closed. So funny. But yeah, if I could, I would try 4 volts. Ken says, Neil Snyder, very kind. Thank you. If you can make it to Can Jam down here, let me know. He's hoping to make one day, but his schedule's been a little nuts, and he has a new puppy. Ah, Ken, congratulations. Why don't you send me a photo of the puppy? Who doesn't love a puppy? We'll put the puppy on the air. The puppy will get ratings. I'll get more viewers in. Nephilim says he hopes he meets us at Can Jam one day. Of course, maybe not all at once, so I can get some listening time in. Well, if you guys, I'm going to go to Can Jam LA. That's my plan. I'm not going to be booked on that weekend, or I'm going to try not to be booked on that weekend. Of course, if I'm booked on that weekend, I'm not going to have a choice. I got to take the jobs, fellas. We need the money to buy the gear to keep the show going. Ken says he did get a new piece of gear, a Hollow Cyan 2 cheap DAC, but used price he could not turn down. Very interesting sound. Can't decide if he'll chase the higher end Hollow unit or stick with the Delta Sigma DAC. The higher end Hollow is R2R, is that correct? Correct me on that if I'm not right. But I think that the May is an R2R. Hipster Cow says, Nephilim, any plans to come to SoCal Can Jam this year? Oh, interesting to know. And Nephilim says he wishes. His Can Jam at the moment would be Toronto Audio Fest in October with friends and family. If he can, it's hard to get away from home for a bit, but one day, that'd be great, man. That'd be awesome. Ace of Spades says, have any of you B21 owners compared it to the Donald North Stellaris amps and sound Red October? That's a question for the class. I certainly haven't. I don't even know what the Donald North Stellaris amps and sound Red October is. Oh, those 2 different amps are. I have compared it to the B21. That's coming up. Nephilim says, Ace of Spades, God, that would be a great amp comparison. And there's some other stuff out there. Look, the other one that I really haven't heard that I know people rave about is that Riviera Labs. The Riviera Labs 10. It's got some letters in front of it, too. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. But the Riviera Labs 10, that it might be D something, 10. That's an amp that people just rave crazy buckets about. And it's another amp that's like a dream amp I'd love to get in here someday. Just to try out, see what it is. But that's another, 18 grand or something like that. We did that. Diminishing returns is a real thing, JTV says. Especially on this show. The longer you stick around, the worse it gets. Oh my God, boys. JTV agrees. He has the final audio D8000, and pretty soon the final will release the DC successor of the D8000. DC is short for detachable, meaning the musical term means back to the beginning. Oh, so I wonder if it's going to have a different signature then, if it's going to go to more neutral or something. That's interesting. Neil says his Diablo 2 is dead quiet on his Fur Audio Radeon 6. That's going to be under the lowest settings, though. It's like I'm wondering if when you crank that up, I know that the Diablo 1 was not quiet. Like there was a lot of self noise there. Surprising amount, I should say. Nephilim says, Neil, nice to hear. He's hopeful for good things on the original Diablo. The best thing about the iFi stuff is the X-Space feature, and the Diablo doesn't have it for some asinine reason. That's true. They left off a lot of stuff on that, including the sensitivity settings, which are so brilliant. It's one of the best things about the IDSD signature. That's such a cool little unit. It's about the same size as the Diablo. It's got a little sort of a more geometric shape to it than just an oval. But it's got all those switches and stuff. Barry Douglas says, hello, fellow AA Audiophiles Anonymous addicts. My friend has the Mass Kobo and stayed up for 2 days listening to it and even had a reveal party for it. Crazy. I don't have it anymore here and let it go. I had to send it away. But that's awesome. You got a friend. Have you heard it? And what did you think of it? What's your opinion, Barry? Is it the best amp you've ever heard? Or is it a good amp that sounds great in some areas? Very interesting. Love to know that. Barry is our local musicologist, guys, if you guys didn't know that. Barry always comes up with some of the best music recommendations around. He's always got something interesting or good to say, hey, go check these guys out. Or here's an old group you probably never heard of. Joe, go check this out. And it's always something good. Nephilim says, a difference in amp topology. The aim was to go all out with an amp DAC combo with no complications or bells and whistles. He felt it was a good move. Smart product line, variety, iFi are clever. I thought, my feeling was, and you're talking about this for the Diablo. My feeling was the Diablo was more of, I didn't think they changed how it sound that much. I thought what it did was you got a little bit of power upgrade for sure with the Diablo over the signature. But I felt it was more of a cosmetic change than anything. They cleaned up the cosmetics on it and made it more appealing looking. At the same time, they omitted a bunch of switches and stuff that I think that an audiophile might find useful. So some of the sensitivity settings and impedances and stuff like that. There's a bunch of switches on the back of that thing, and they all do different things and cool things that could let you better tune the amp to the headphone you're trying to drive. It's very good. But they omitted a bunch of that stuff for the Diablo in the name of keeping it, I don't know, keeping it more clean, maybe? I don't know. I don't know why you take away those switches. It doesn't make sense to me. Ephraim says, different amp typology. Did I go over this? The aim was to go all out with the DAC amp combo, no compromise. Yes, I did that. I did that one. So there you go. I commented about it. Neil Snyder says, Can Jammers in Irvine. Ruth's Chris dinner on him, probably Saturday night. Sounds lovely. I will be gone by the night, though, because Mrs. Director would not be happy if I'm not home. You went where for a whole day without me? Ah. Gotta be home, man. Gotta do the home thing. Any plans to bring your B21 down with you? Ooh, spicy question. Spicy question. What say you, Neil? Are you going to bring it down and put it in a room somewhere? Get it off the floor so you can't have, just bunch of grubby little hands all over it? JTB, Diminishing Returns Garage. It really is, guys. It really is. We're down to our last 15 minutes. We're running out of steam. Ken Workshop. Cyan 2 is R2R, just cheaper parts. Also have a Delta Sigma A26. Very different sound between them. Very cool, man. I haven't done a lot of DAC comparisons. I've done some. I've done some. Some more successful than others. Puppy pictures sent. All right, I'll get that for next week because I'm running out of time and I don't want to try and send something across to PC. Sorry, my mouse is messing up. The one thing I don't like about trackballs is, and no comment please, you have to clean them out frequently because they get gookin or hair and I have cats, so it's like the cat hair is the real thing, and they stop listening to you. So I get kind of violent with mine. But Ken, we'll get your puppy picked next weekend. That's a great tease. Make sure you tune in next week to see Ken's puppy. Barry says, nobody said to Michelangelo, hey, hurry up, masterpieces take time. Take your time, Ryan. Good point. Good point. I like that thinking, Barry. And Barry, do you have a music rec for us this week? That would be great. What did I have? Oh, I was listening to the Clash Sandinista album. I really have grown into that album. It's an album I didn't think that much of when I was listening to it. And, when I first heard it back in the 80s. And I have a much more renewed appreciation for it, especially coming out, knowing that it's the album that followed the amazing London Calling record. I actually have a bit of an affinity for that record. I like where he was heading. It definitely fell more, the Clash kind of fell more into that ska lane, and were pursuing that sound for that record. Very cool. But I've been listening to that on my wireless when I go and do laps around the neighborhood. Diminishing Returns is the title of his new biography of his sex life. TMI, my friends. Neil says, put on Bassiest's headphone and listen to Make Us Stronger by Ghost Rider. Wow. All right, I'm going to copy that one over as we're heading into our home stretch here. But listen to Sandinistas by The Clash. That's going to be my recommendation this week. I've kind of had a little bit of a love affair with that record lately, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. All right, so I'm going to put this down here. Very good. I could go do some work still for the regular job when I get done with there. Any plans to hear the new Focal's new Bluetooth phones? I don't have plans. I can tell you that I am trying to get the Nobles in here. The Nobles are very, very, they're a very interesting headphone, and I've heard great things about them, and I want to get them in here to review. Police on My Back is a great Clash song. Yes, agree. Neil was going to bring down his B-21 to Can Jam, but he's flying down with his entourage, so no, he's not bringing. Yeah, you'd have to buy a second seat on the plane for that one, man. That flight case, people will ask too many questions. What are all the wires going in and out of that thing? I love it. I love it. That's so fun. That's so fun. I'm trying to think of what the other thing I was listening to recently, and I'm drawing a blank, but the Sandinistas record. Oh, another one is, and this is more on the rock side of things. Well, I guess the Clash is what you could probably say fall into that as well. Robert Plant's first record, post Zeppelin, and I might do this this might be in the next episode. I can't remember. I don't remember what I shot. So bad. But Pictures at 11 was the name of the record. That album is, the only thing I don't like about that record is the reverb, because it's got kind of an 80s reverb sound on it. It's a very kind of a plate sounding reverb, as opposed to, you know, it's not an organic reverb. But the music on that record is phenomenal. It's absolutely great. And they got Robbie Blunt and Phil Collins as the drummer on that record. So he's got a great band behind him. And the songs on that are really just fantastic. It's in some ways I consider it a better Zeppelin album than In Through the Outdoor. Here's a spicy take. So the Zeppelin Rotzi will come after me with pitchforks. Ken said he once flew back from Texas with a 4-bay NAS for work. There were questions and an inspection. Yeah, that's a network area storage system, which is a big bunch of drives, hard drives. That's so fun. Hey guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up. My voice is going a little bit, and I've got some work to do still for tonight, and I got to get a workout in and a whole bunch of other stuff. Mrs. Director just came home. I'm going to go upstairs and say hi to her. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by today. Get your pictures in for next week. You know you've got a new episode coming next week, which will be a review, and it will be kind of a little bit spicier for review, so to speak. It just is. It's you know, I'll just, you'll see, you'll understand. Okay, fellas. But thank you guys for stopping by, and always good to see you guys. And I'll see you next week, and I'll see you guys before you know it. All right. Cheers, everybody. Something's going to happen here. I just know it.
What's that time? Yes, it is. You know it's happy hour. Let's all hang out. Let's all get drunk. At the director's garage. Oh, set the headphones down.